Noah was a Tom Moore suggestion. You know Tom, the failed disaster at Quinnipiac, who, by the way, is not going to make our list. Laugh, Tommy, laugh. Tom was on the... who is on this list. He mentioned Chuck Noll, so he's somebody you got to consider. You almost forget that Noll was the coach of the Steelers. You know, they do it. He's he's not an overbearing. He's not a guy. He's not a self-promoter. You know, he stayed with one organization forever. They have so many great players, you forget who the coach was. So, Shooter has the record of wins. Lombardi was the overbearing personality. Paul Brown invented stuff. I mean, different scenario for him. But he is a guy that you got to consider, too. It's interesting when you look at the coaches. And, I love the coaches. I don't think you can... some of these, you can decide how you want to handle it. But I think in a couple of these sports, you can't... I don't know how you get around Riley... Popovich, Phil, and Auerbach, some combination. And I'd love to put Jack Ramsey there in the NBA, but I can't. He didn't win enough. I think Ramsey's influence is as great as anybody, but, he won one title. So I can't put Jack there, Dr. Jack. But you get the feel here. Hank in Kentucky starts us off, and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Hank, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What do you have for me?
Doing well, Chris. How are you, sir?
All right, Hank, nice to talk to you. What's on your mind now? Fire away.
Well, I've enjoyed your show for years. It's a pleasure to talk with you. One thing I appreciate about you is your sense of history, and it's hard to forget the winningest basketball program in terms of wins in college basketball history.
You want to
be a homer, but it's Adolph Rupp.
Yeah, I knew somebody was. He won 4 or 5. He won 4. He won 4 titles.
48, 49, 51, and 58, I believe. He won an NIT when that was the big tournament. He won the SEC 27 times. He went to the Final Four 6 times.
You want it? How much of a negative does he get for the fact that he wasn't exactly Martin Luther King?
That's my point that I'm trying to make here. It's a misnomer. It hurts people in Kentucky the way that Texas movie was portrayed. It portrays him as a racist, and I believe the SEC wasn't even fully integrated at that time. But it's taboo in the national media to ever give him any credit, and no one ever speaks of him, and they always give favor to the North Carolina coaches. And it's, he's the foundation of the winningest program ever. Wooden in titles, but Kentucky in wins.
Yeah, Rupp is a guy, again, I'd have to do a little history on Rupp. He also had a scandal, don't forget, in the late 40s, where, it wasn't him, but his players, were thrown out of the NBA, and never allowed to play. Beard and, I forget, Lou Groza was on that team too, the kicker. I'd have to go back and look in 48, 49. I don't know if that was ever proven, but they did get blackballed and did not play in the NBA. But if they did, it was just for a cup of coffee. But Rupp is a guy that you'd have to put in the mix. There's no question about it. Huck in Missouri, let's listen to him. He's got a good feel. Huck, your turn. Go ahead, pal. What do you have for me?
Chris, I didn't get a chance to listen yesterday or call in. I like to give my take on the game just real fast. I believe, Chris, at 13-0, when Saban's walking off that field after the Rinaldi interview, I think Saban was thinking it ain't our day. I don't think we can win this game. And as far as, praising him for making that change, to me, that was the only move to make.
I was a quarterback 100%. Change. I did a big deal on that all day yesterday. Our host and everybody else, way over the top with praise. And I love Saban. But, if he wanted to have a chance to win that game, he had to take Hurts out. And if I thought of it, if you thought of it, my buddies thought of it, if I can't give him credit for something which I thought of as well in the first half. So from that standpoint, it was a move. Took some courage, I'm not disputing the fact that it wasn't that it was an easy call with a guy who was 25-2, but it's not the most courageous decision in the history of college football. Oh my God, no. So and plus the fact, if you read stuff today, it's almost like this kid outplayed Hurts in practice basically for the whole year, and somehow he should have been playing a little earlier. So from that standpoint, keep that in mind. Go ahead. What else you got for me? As far as Saban historically is concerned, where do you want to put him in college football?
I think he's number 2. I still put Bear Bryant ahead of him, and I'll tell you why. Bear Bryant, with the desegregation, he had to go through that. And 90% of white people in Alabama, rednecks at that time, did not want the black athlete coming to the great Tuscaloosa, Alabama team. It would have been very easy for Bear Bryant to say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this. I quit. But he didn't. He hung in there, and he won championships with a black athlete. I think Bear Bryant deserves a lot of credit for hanging in there when a lot of guys would have bailed out in that situation.
You know what? And I think we put that's a fair point. And I think some of us would consider Paterno, if nothing occurred here at Penn State, as a guy that he was there forever. He won 1 million games, won championships in lots of different ways. I think there's some people there who would do that. I would not put Saban as the greatest football coach ever, because in college football, you can win 8 games every year just because of the talent that you get. So to me, it's a little different in college football. The NFL, everybody's got a chance. It's evaluation. It's putting them in the right place. Lombardi got to Green Bay. All those players are already there. Horning was there. Starr was there. Nitsky was there. Jerry Kramer was there. They were all there. Willie Davis he traded for to get. A lot of those Hall of Famers were in Green Bay. When Saban starts the year, he's got 3,000 first-round picks. So you got to keep that in mind before you put him, in the Mount Rushmore. But he is top 3 in the history of college football. There's no way around that. Dan Lang, Sports Bite, Mad Dog Unleashed.
Mad Dog Sports Radio.